Before we get into how to actually use the journal, so really going through the S.P.I.N method itself, I want to take a couple minutes and talk about the last part of the method, the face it part. Face it is the action step. This is where the rubber hits the road, if you will, right? This is where all of the thinking and the processing and the analyzing that you've been doing now actually has some action put behind it. So most of the S.P.I.N method is analyzing and synthesizing data. It's taking the situation that you're worried about, the problem that's bothering you. Maybe there's, again, something that happened. You got into an argument or something with somebody, and breaking it down to just the facts, right? What really actually happened. And we'll look at the journal, those questions together in just a minute. But after you do all of that, and you've really seen now the truth of it, it's just a glass, right? You've removed the half full or half empty judgments from it. You've seen that it's just a glass. Now you need to do some stuff. This is where your brain really gets a chance to change. You have to take action. Thoughts, the thought patterns leading up to it, are the beginning. And that has to happen. The synthesis and the analysis that you're doing throughout the journal has to happen, right? You've got to teach your brain to think about things in a different way. But really, to set that in stone, now you have to take some actions. You have to do something, get your body involved. Because as we know, long-term memory, the things that just kind of stick with us that we don't have to think about doing, actually resides in our body, right? A lot of that is in our spinal column. Our brains are notoriously slow thinkers. Notoriously slow. Think about typing, for example. If you're typing along, writing out an email, and you're just flying along, and then all of a sudden you come to a word that you don't necessarily know how to spell, right? Everything slows down. And you have to look at the keyboard all of a sudden when you weren't looking at the keyboard a few minutes ago and try to figure out what keys I'm pushing. It even sometimes goes back to one finger. Boom, boom, boom. That's because your brain's not necessarily a super fast processor in comparison to your long-term memory, which a lot of that happens actually in your spinal cord. And your body really does keep hold of a lot of this stuff. It's a lot of muscle memory. There's a lot of physiological responses to your memories and to your judgments, right? So we need to get all that involved. We need to do some things. We need to get our senses involved. We need to say things. We need to read things. We need to feel things. We need to take action. We need to actually do something to solidify the new ways of thinking that we've just found by all of the questions and the analysis that we've done throughout the journal. Okay, so this is where the face it stage comes into play. Face it, F-A-C-E. F, forgiveness. A, apologize. C is change or sometimes challenge, kind of depends on what it is. And E is express. So forgiveness, apology, change or challenge, and express. Forgive, apologize. I should say those really as an action verb. Forgive, apologize, change, and express. Forgiveness, number one. This is an internal step. And the first person that you need to forgive is you. First person that you need to forgive is you. Even if this was a big argument with somebody else, you have got to forgive yourself first for being wired to see the negativity. It's not your fault. It's just the way we are. It's the way human beings are just born and raised, especially when you add the society that we live onto this, right? Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for seeing something negative. Really take some time. And these aren't instantaneous things. That's why you have to go through the S.P.I.N method multiple times, right? It's not an instantaneous thing, but take some time and ponder. Be quiet, right? Find some quiet place or do some self-care where you can really ponder and say to yourself internally, you know what? It's okay. I saw some negativity here, but I'm going to forgive myself and move on. Okay. And then you need to forgive the other person if there's another person involved in this scenario. Not every scenario is about another person. Some of it's just ourselves, right? But if there is another person, you need to forgive them. You need to see them as a human being as well. If you're going to give yourself the benefit of the doubt, you need to give them the benefit of the doubt. And vice versa. If you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt, you need to give yourself the benefit of the doubt. More of us struggle with that than we think. More of us struggle with that than we think we do. Oftentimes, we are much more likely to give someone else the benefit of the doubt than we are to give ourselves, right? Your best friend messes up, they call you, they tell you about it. Most of the time, we jump on as the cheerleader. We jump on, hey, dude, it's all right. Whatever happened, it's all right. You got this. I'm here with you. We make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up, right? But do we give ourselves that same pep talk? Do we say, hey, Blake, it's all right. You make mistakes. You got this. I'm here with you. We got this. Okay. So forgive yourself and forgive the other person if there's somebody else involved in it, but you got to forgive yourself. Step 2 is apologize. This is an action step. Now, this is an out loud step. That forgiveness thing, there's an action step to it. You can forgive and not say you're sorry. That's totally possible. And sometimes that's necessary. Let's say maybe you cut somebody off on the freeway and it really made you grumpy or something. Or they cut you off, rather, but you'll never see him again. So you can't necessarily go apologize to him, but you can apologize to yourself. And I want you to do this out loud. Say to yourself out loud, I'm sorry. Blake, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I got upset about that. I'm sorry that I've been carrying this anger for so long. I'm sorry, that I didn't know what I know now. Apologies are not necessarily this horrible admission of guilt. People think that if I say I'm sorry, then I must be admitting that I'm wrong. Now, sometimes we are wrong and we do need to take accountability and apologize. That's a very good, healthy thing. But sometimes we can just apologize for the situation. Gosh, I'm really sorry that this happened. I really am. I am sorry. I feel sorrow, right? That this situation happened. So Blake, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this happened. I'm sorry that you grew up in a crazy society that taught you to be angry at everybody. I'm sorry that happened to you. Say that out loud so that you get the action involved. Every time we have to do something out loud, our brain has to put multiple processes into place. And the more processes we have in place, the more likely we are to make a change. Those learning modalities, right? Visual, auditory, and then kinesthetic. The more of those we can get into place, the more likely we are to see change. So if there's another person involved, you need to go apologize to them. Okay, go tell them sorry. And this will go hand in hand with the next 2 steps. But you need to do that because otherwise you may very likely still hold on to the grudge that's inside and you're trying to do away with that. Now, again, this doesn't mean that you have to admit guilt. Hopefully, while you're going through the steps in the journal, you'll come to understand, was there actual guilt or not, or was it just an accident? Was there a misunderstanding? If there is something that you found that is yours, that you need to take accountability for, apologize for it. That is really, really growth inspiring. Really helps change the way you think about things. If you can humble yourself to actually say you're sorry, you would be amazed how that changes your relationships with people just by taking accountability and saying you're sorry. And do it in little things. If you do it in little things, it's much easier to do it if something big happens. Okay, so apologize. That's A. Now C is change. If there's something that you can change about this situation, do so. So if you acted out of anger or saw something negatively that was not necessarily negative, so if you acted inappropriately because of this negative wiring, if there's a way you can change it, go change it. So in the book, I think I put an example there. Maybe you let somebody go at work because you were angry or you saw something negative. You didn't see the truth. Can you fix that? I don't know if they'll want to come back and work for you again, but you can put a new process in place. You can see if you can get in touch with them. You could recommend them to the next job or something if they don't want to come back. You can do something to change it. Okay. Now, sometimes that means challenging things. So if there's a system that you've put into place that you need to challenge, kind of push back on the status quo, right? You can challenge that. So if you recognized through this system that something needs to change, then challenge it and go change it. Okay? Do what you can do. Figure out what you can do to change something. One thing my wife taught me, and I thought this was a really beautiful thing, sometimes we can't necessarily change the situation. So let's take the example of someone cutting us off on the freeway. Or we cut them off or whatever it may be. We're never going to see them again. We can't necessarily change anything for them, but we can change something for somebody else. We can do something nice for somebody else. Maybe we wronged somebody a long time ago in our life. It's really been bothering us. And through the S.P.I.N method, we've been finding some peace with it. We can't necessarily go and fix the situation with them because maybe we don't know where they are. Maybe they're not even around anymore. That's a sad situation, but it does happen. But we can do something nice in their honor. If we can't pay something back to them, maybe we pay something forward to somebody else. Pass along some goodness in their honor. While you're thinking about this, hey, you know what? I can't really make it up to so-and-so because they're not around or I don't know where they are, but I'm going to do something nice as if I was doing it for them. That's a cool step. It's a cool step. Do it. Okay. And then number 3 is express. You need to express some love and some understanding and some gratitude to yourself and to the other person, again, if it involved another person. If it didn't, you need to do this for yourself. I know this may seem silly, but it's important. You are trying to get your brain to change. That means you've got to develop new habits and you have to get your body involved. You've got to get your senses involved. You've got to get your awakened, logical, thinking brain involved. And even your emotions have got to get involved in this. You've got to pull this stuff out of your subconscious, the things that we just do habitually without even knowing. We got to pull that into our conscious self and think about it and act on it. So you need to express 3 things. Something for the other person. Okay. Now, again, if there's only just you, then you can skip that one. Just do it for yourself. Something for you and something for the relationship. So love, understanding, gratitude. One of those 3. Go up to the person if there was an altercation or some kind of disagreement and express some kind of understanding maybe. If you can't find the love or gratitude, start with understanding. Hey, I've really been thinking about the situation, the other day, and I think I understand better what you were going through because, I've analyzed the facts and I realized maybe I, saw things differently. And I think I understand better your point of view, and express that to them. Or let them know, hey, you know what? I know things were kind of rough, whatever happened the other day, but I just want to tell you that I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you were able to kind of be there with me in this situation because I've learned some stuff from it. So thank you for playing that part. Thank you for being part of my growth. That may seem weird to them because if it was an argument, they may be like, what are you talking about? But it's amazing how that can actually diffuse any anger in them. If you're thanking them for playing a part in your growth, they may think it's a little bit weird, but weird is better than angry. So let it be weird. That's fine. So then you got to express something for yourself. Yeah, I've really come to understand something about myself. I'm grateful that I've had this growth. I love where I'm growing now, and I'm learning to not be quite so negative anymore. So you're expressing some love and understanding and gratitude for them, and love and understanding and gratitude for yourself. Pick one of those. You don't have to do all of them, but if you can, great. Hey, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was able to come to terms with this. I was holding on to some grudges or some negativity about it, but I've learned to come to terms with it, and I'm grateful for that. And then something for the relationship, something that's about the we, the us, that kind of brings us back together again. Especially if it's somebody that you know and you love and you interact with, family members, right? Spouses, significant others, really important. I'm grateful that we can learn together. I'm grateful that we can overcome these kinds of things. And, I see just some different things in us that I used to see differently, right? Or I understand better if you're trying to express some understanding that what you've gone through and what I've gone through. And I see how that has created this, right? Instead of you versus me, let's make you and me versus the problem. Show some understanding with that. Express some love to them, to us. I love you. I love us. I love what we are. And, if you don't feel comfortable saying that to somebody, that's fine. Find some words that kind of express that. Hey, I'm grateful for our friendship. I think what happened was really tragic, and I hope we can overcome that, because I really am grateful for the friendship that we've had or that we can have. Something, expressing something out loud to them. I know this sounds scary. This is probably one of the scariest parts about this entire process. That's because it's one of the most important and most influential parts. The fact that it's scary is a great case study of your own brain doing its job of assessing safe versus not safe. There's social danger in this, right? There's emotional danger. What if I'm rejected? What if I say to this person that I'm sorry? What if I tell them that I'm grateful for them and they don't accept it? What if they don't accept my apology? What if they reject my gratitude and my love? That may happen, my friends. That may very well happen. We can't control anybody else. As much as we would love to say, you have to say that that's okay when I say I'm sorry. You have to accept my apology. They don't. They don't have to accept it. We can't control them. But that's not what this is about. This isn't for them. This is for us, right? This is for you. It's not for them. So you need to do these steps for your sake. And if they're kind of the kind of person that doesn't want to accept your apologies or doesn't want to see the gratitude and the understanding that you're expressing, well, then maybe you make a decision, and maybe this isn't a person you want to interact with, a whole lot in the future or at all. Set yourself some boundaries. This is a great tool to use to help figure out where you need set some boundaries in your life. Give them a chance, right? Give them the benefit of the doubt. But if there's a repeated pattern here, well, then there you know. So this is a good example of that social danger. We're not actually in physical danger to just express love and understanding and gratitude and apologies to somebody. But we are in a potentially emotionally dangerous situation. That's where the brain has gone to, right? The physical danger is no longer a problem. So I got to find some danger somewhere. And I've attached it now to this social and emotional situation. We're not actually in danger. Fight through this. And as you do this, you'll find it gets easier and easier because it feels so good for you. That burden, it just gets lifted off your shoulders. Man, I am not carrying that anymore. I am grateful. I see the gratitude for me, for them, for us. That's a beautiful feeling. Okay. That's what Face It is. That's the FACE, the action part of the SPIN method. It's incredibly important. And as you go through it and you get better at it, this is where you'll really start to see change in your life. When you can go into a situation and do these expressions and this gratitude and whatnot, and you realize you come out of it largely unscathed. Again, like I said, maybe some emotional scarring or whatnot, but you'll start to gain some emotional resiliency and you'll understand that their problems and their feelings are theirs. I'm not responsible for them. Their feelings are theirs. I feel better about me and about the situation. I'm learning and growing. Hopefully they are too. I'm learning and growing and I feel so much better about it. Okay, you can do this. You really can. I know it's difficult. I know it's scary, but you can do this. And just treat yourself with love and kindness and you'll get there. Okay, talk to you in the next video.